Pokemon cards used to look like this, and now they look like these. These are called Illustration Rares and have completely changed how we collect Pokemon cards. Not only are they beautiful renditions of Pokemon we love, but they give us a glimpse of the world they live in. And since their introduction in Scarlet and Violet base set in 2023, there have been over 400 Illustration Rare cards released. So I took the time to look closely at each and every one, from their artwork to their hidden references, to determine the best ones ever made. Before we get started, here are a few rules I followed to make this list. For the purpose of this video, I have left out all special Illustration Rares, because they probably deserve their own video. Additionally, I did include cards that are classified as promos, but are Illustration Rares by nature. And that's because sometimes cards are considered Illustration Rares or Art Rares in Japan, but is released as a promo in English or vice versa. So, without further ado, the top 10 Pokemon Illustration Rare cards ever made. And to start off, I have one that I'm sure all of you will agree with. At number 10. Pokemon 151 is undoubtedly one of the most popular sets of all time. And that's because it brought us all the way back to the beginning, except this time with a completely new look. And obviously, we got some incredible artwork for our beloved starters, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, and Charmander. We all expected to have those cards featured in the set. But one card from that set that is not talked about enough is Poliwhirl. Stage 1 Pokemon rarely get the recognition they deserve, and this art rare from 151 is gorgeous. Looking at its own reflection in the water puddle, seeing the mesmerizing swirl on its own belly, wandering alone in the rain, I believe it's an underrated gem in this set. Number 9, the Zorua from White Flare. Look at those colors. The contrast between Zorua and the moon, the hues of blue. Naoki Saito, you knew what you were doing. I got so excited when I pulled this card from White Flare. And as someone who also loves Disney, yes, this card gave me Lion King Simba vibes. And I am here for it. Next up, at number 8, I think this card art is worthy of being a special illustration rare. The Ninetales from Obsidian Flames. It's whimsical looking and the colors are just perfect. Ninetales is a Pokemon based on the nine-tailed fox from ancient folklore, depicted as a spirit possessing magical powers. And this card gives us exactly that. I find it funny that this card is from one of the original 151 Pokemon and not in Pokemon 151 set. And I would have expected this considering that Ninetales was a holo in the original base set. The next card on my list is Misty Psyduck from Destined Rivals, which takes the number 7 spot. I remember being so excited when I saw this artwork, and luckily I did pull it in Japanese. What makes it even more special is that it ties in some cards from the Wizard of the Coast era, with some appearing in both Gym Challenge and Gym Heroes. But more importantly, one of the Misty Psyduck was also printed as a Wizard Stamp promo. So, seeing Misty Psyduck recreated as an illustration rare makes me feel all nostalgic. But this isn't the only card in Destined Rivals to bring us back to the Wizards of the Coast era. So quickly, I'd like to give a mention to Team Rocket's Meowth, which has shown up a few times over the years, but most importantly as a promo in the Wizards of the Coast era as well. Alright, for this next one, I might be a little bit biased, but hear me out. At number 6, we have the Eevee from Twilight Masquerade. Friends, it's one Eevee per evolution, meaning all 8 of these Eevees could grow up to be different evolutions. That's genius! They all have their own little personalities, and I love to guess which one would evolve into what. My bet is that this sleeping one here would be Umbreon, as it's giving me Karen's Umbreon vibes. And this one here is giving Espeon vibes, sitting all up and proper. The rest I'll leave up to your imagination. And here's something you may not have noticed. This one is holding what appears to be a little dino plush, giving me hope that we would see a dragon-type evolution. But alas, I'm still waiting for the next evolution to be announced. If there's one type of card art that I've always loved, it's Pokemon working as they would in the real world. So, at number 5, we have the Steelix from Paradox Rift. In this card art, not only do we have timbers and girders working on a construction site, Steelix is lifting a worker all the way to the top platform. I would have full faith that whatever they're building, it would be the sturdiest building on the block. Steelix is often portrayed as being this scary, imposing Pokemon, but here he's just like your friendly coworker Bill. This isn't the only card showing working Pokemon, so a few special mentions to other working Pokemon, like Mudsdale showing Mudbray how to roll hay, or Chansey from Twilight Masquerade working away in the Pokemon Center. And let's not forget Machoke from 151 helping as part of a moving company. But most recently, we got this Timber from Black Bolt, also working on a construction site. What if this card is of the same construction site, but from a different angle? At number 4, the Sleeping Snorlax promo from the 151 ETB. This card is not only beautiful, but it pulls in some Pokemon history. Have you played the games Pokemon Blue or Red? If you remember, while walking down Route 11, the path is blocked by Snorlax, which then sends you on a quest to find the Pokeflute to be able to wake him up. And that's not the only game to do this. This reference is brought back in the Let's Go games. And the fact that they were able to integrate this into a card makes it much more special. Before we get into our top 3, I do want to do an honorable mention for a card that I personally love. And that's the Detective Pikachu SV promo. Pikachu riding on the back of a Growlithe, looking through his little loop. How is it not perfect? This card was obtained by buying the Detective Pikachu game in Japan, and was also available in a few other different languages, but never got released in the English TCG. Alright, now time for our top 3. Taking the 3rd spot, we have the Charmander promo from the Obsidian Flames Elite Trainer box. This Charmander looks exactly as I would expect him to look like while getting taunted by a Pidgey. It reminds me of when my dog sees a squirrel outside that she can't chase. Its English print kicked off this beautiful trio of cards, including both the Bulbasaur and Squirtle from Stellar Crown. I love how all 3 of these tie in the Pidgeys. I think this ETB promo is so well thought out and had to make an appearance in my top 10 list. I made a short form video about this next card not too long ago because I think it might be one of the most genius card arts ever made. At number 2, we have this Meowth promo. This card isn't released in English, and in Japan was released with the Generation Start decks. It is also available in a few other languages. At first glance, it's just a Meowth sleeping in a tree. But what if I told you if this card concept was taken straight out of Pokemon Blue? This card is a direct representation of where you could catch Meowth in this game. You could catch him just south of Cerulean City between the daycare and the town. And fun fact, you could trade for a Jinx in the building on the left. In the same sealed pack where you would get this Meowth promo, you would also get this Paldean Wooper promo. Similarly to the Meowth, this card depicts where you could catch this Pokemon in the game Scarlet and Violet, east of Lost Plateaus, just south of Area 1, making this sealed promo pack an unforgettable one. Now, the top illustration rare from the Scarlet and Violet era. And if you haven't noticed, I might have been hinting to it all along. From the same artist that brought us the Giratina V alt art from Lost Origin, the currently controversial Seismitoad from Black Bolt, and the Magneton promo from Surging Sparks. And the newly announced Oriko Rio special illustration rare from Phantasmal Flames. At number 1, the Magikarp from Paldea Evolved. Honestly, I think this card is the top card of that set, beating out even all of the special illustration rares. This Carter is something I would actually hang in my living room. The illustration is based on an ancient Chinese legend, which says that a carp able to swim upstream and leap the Yellow River Dragon's Gate would become a dragon. Therefore, a Gyarados, which, fun fact, is hidden in this artwork. And once you see it, you wonder how you missed it all along. It's insane to me that we still haven't gotten a Gyarados illustration rare or special illustration rare. I mean, we got this thing here, but it doesn't do the Pokemon justice. So, there you have it, my top 10 illustration rares. The best part about illustration rares is how personal they can feel. The ones that mean the most to me might not even be on your list. And remember, this is just for illustration rares. Special illustration rares are a whole different story and deserve their own spotlight. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that breakdown when it drops. And see you in the next one.